Ahoy hoy! And welcome to another 30 videos in 30 days. I think we're number 14. I'm fairly certain that sounds right. Yes, yes, we're on day 14. So, today I actually just want to talk a little bit about coaching. I was very fortunate to spend about an hour with a friend of mine this morning explaining to them what the concept of coaching is, how it's supposed to work, because this is something that they were interested in. So it was nice to be able to talk to them along the lines of give them the information from the almost a year from starting out phase, which was great because within this year I've acquired a lot of information, which is wonderful. And it's nice because, as with anything else, you bring to things what you know. You bring everything that you bring your past history with. And you bring that perspective. So I come from things, I come to things from a very pragmatic, practical construction sensibility. Grounded. It's required to have details. It's required to have things along those lines. So it was great to be able to help explain these sort of things. I hope the dogs aren't too loud. There's an Amazon guy out front. And it was good because ultimately coaching is a remarkably straightforward sort of thing. It's active listening. It is providing a safe space for people to feel secure enough to talk about the things that concerns them. It involves asking guided questions and digging deeper and finding ways to help convey to people that whatever they need, at least as far as I'm concerned, whatever they need, they already have. They just may need a little help discovering it or utilizing it. I am a I am someone who spent a whole lot of my life making myself the best version of me that I could do because I had a lot of self-image challenges and everything that told me that I wasn't enough, so therefore I had to be more and I had to be better, and I kept working at being more and being better and acquiring the level of self-awareness that sort of thing brings. The nice thing is it's helped me get really personable. It's taught me a lot of patience. It's taught me a lot of communication skills. It's helped make me a little bit more approachable in general. And honestly, I have a passion for hopefully teaching people to do the same thing, to teach people to recognize that they are an awesome individual. So this is good. I have a very difficult time calling myself a coach, though, because of language. Even while explaining the basics of coaching to this person who was giving it consideration, it was remarkably difficult to discuss without falling into a lot of jargon. You know, the law of attraction, manifestation, reframing, and that one that bothers me so much, niche, or niche, depending on how you pronounce it. You know, cool whip, cool whip, whichever your preference. One of the big struggles that I personally have is the jargonization of it, because coming from a sales background of about 20 years worth of sales, jargon, corporate speak, all of that stuff feels like needless, superfluous fluff. When what you should be doing is just getting to the direct statements, the direct answers, the direct questions. One of the challenges that I faced when I started looking at the concept of being a coach, starting about 4.5 years ago, was the fact that Yes, kind of. There's sort of a couple governing bodies, but not really. And there's no certification required to be a coach, really. So, had I wanted to, I could have easily just put up my shingle, said I'm a coach, and started offering people advice that they were paying me for, but that was very likely tremendously incorrect. One of the first things that I learned when I went into an actual legitimate coach training was exactly how much I didn't know. And my personal integrity required that I go through some kind of a training, some kind of a certification, so that, in part so that I could assure myself that I knew what I was doing. And it still took me another 6 months after the fact. But also to be able to tell people with confidence, see, I know what I'm doing. I've taken the time. I have studied up on this. I have learned things, and I have things that I can help teach you. One of the downsides, though, and this is where I have a hard time calling myself a coach, is because there are no such requirements for certification or registration or governing body or anything like that, because anyone can put out their shingle, it's oftentimes looked at as one of those kind of joke careers. Kind of like everybody tries real estate for a bit. Everyone dubs himself this thing or that thing. And no matter how much you tell them that you're educated, no matter how much you convey to them that your experience is valid and that you have something to offer, they're going to hear life coach. And it's going to translate into a person who couldn't do anything else. So they are a psychological snake oil salesman. And unfortunately, I can tell you from the coaching side of it, that's not without merit. It is necessary to have if you want to become established, if you want to become known, it's important to have something that sets you apart. The easiest default to set yourself apart is having a system. I'm not going to diminish this over much, because at some point or another I will probably have a system. It's branding, it's marketing. I've attached on to the coaching cavalier mantra. I'm not as sold on it as I was. I actually really like the concept that someone passed on to just be Lance helps people. For me, that speaks a lot more, and I think it practices a lot more of the magnetism that I should be working on. But most coaches, certified or not, will have a system. Most coaches will have 5 steps to greater security, 9 steps to improve your energy, the 3 ways to relieve stress and become powerful. And a lot of other coaches, unfortunately, prey on new coaches as well. You want to make more sales? I can help you make more sales. You want to find your niche? I will help you find your niche. There is nothing wrong with this. I personally worked with a program, and still do work with a program that is largely sales-based, and it's an excellent program. Less so for me because of my sales experience, but for those starting out, it is a wonderful asset. But again, it falls down to the organization in and of itself, its success rate, its legitimacy. And legitimacy in such a challenging arena without as much regulation is so hard. The year before, the last job that I had when I was still working corporate, I found that someone had listed their employer as a life coach. And I was honestly largely repulsed by it. To me, it spoke out as this person failed at life and they're trying to convince themselves they have something to offer. I'm on the other side of it now. I left work because I believe that I have a story worth telling. I believe that I have skills that I can provide to people to help them endure and encounter change and become more awesome. Because I honestly believe everybody's fucking awesome. Everybody is awesome, and most people don't have enough affirmation of that in their life. And I want to tell them, you're awesome. Let me show you where you're awesome. Let's agree that you're awesome in these areas, so go be awesome in these areas. That's it. That's all I want to do. I would like to get paid for it. That would be awesome. But still, it's remarkably challenging, and I'm becoming more comfortable with the concept of referring to myself as a coach. But that really fly-by-night snake oil salesman, shisty, oftentimes preying on its own mentality is a really big hurdle. I like the concept of a life change consultant. If you're going through a difficult time, I'm a great person to have around because I ask a lot of good questions. And I'm able to take complex subjects and boil them down into simpler concepts that you can actually take practical steps with. Boom! That's it. I'm accepting the fact that I am a life coach. I don't care for it. I really would prefer a different terminology. But it doesn't change the fact that what a coach does is a coach takes your existing skill set and improves it. Period. Be that a football coach, be that a financial coach, be that a life coach. That's what the job is. I don't care for the term. I don't care for the jargonization of it. I don't care for all the needless corporate speak about stepping outside the box and changing the paradigm, and so help me God, if I ever come up with 5 keys to greater happiness, someone can feel free to club me with a lead pipe, because that sort of thing for me feels insincere. I'm not saying that it's illegitimate. I'm not saying that it is insincere, but for me it feels insincere, so it's a challenge. But I acknowledge that different people receive information in different ways. I acknowledge that these are ways that people do communicate themselves, and they communicate themselves to the people who need to hear them. And so it's all good. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing inherently flawed with it. It's just a little bit of a speed bump that I personally have. But you know what? There's worse problems to have. If the worst problem is a question of definition, let's get past the definition and let's get to the work. I realize this is a little bit of an odd one, but hey, you know what? We're like 15 days in, so we're at the halfway point. So we're rocking it. Have a good one.